Welcome to my workshop. Welcome to my Welcome to my workshop. My name's Stevie, and so far we've been drawing the same thing. If you were here for the last stream, everything in the upper right is our reference images for everything that's been requested so far. As far as I needed a reference images, of course. We got Jack Skellington and a little pumpkin down here. We're gonna have more than enough time inking and filling this in, doing some lovely lighting. But yeah, so like I said, Jack Skellington is right up there, and let's focus on him real quick. And this pumpkin is supposed to have his face, his cute little face. That pumpkin is floating on a cauldron. This big gargoyle creature that is more like a goblin or an ogre, but I did what I could. This creature is putting together some kind of potion in a in a cauldron that we're gonna probably put some more detail on in this stream. And yeah, let's see. There's a spider web up here with a spider descending from it, with a camera in his hand. I don't remember if the camera was specifically requested or by who, but I remember that Sarah requested for this to be a Halloween sweater, so we put a little gargoyle on there, a conventional one, not a Jack Skellington one. And outside of that, it's pretty much it. Oh, and a princess sticker up here. I don't remember the reason for a lot of this, but I do still have the VODs on my computer. Probably going to put them out to YouTube in like a compilation at some point soon, especially once we're done the piece. But one beautiful little thing about coming back to an art piece a little bit later, whether it's the next day, the next week, like this is that we can go in and see if there's like little parts that we want to reinvent before we continue with the piece. So my initial idea was to start inking it, reduce the opacity of the pencil layer that you see here, and start inking it with a dry brush here in Clip Studio Paint. And then to do the color fills and the lighting. Now you can switch between either inking with the either inking with the dry brush. Either doing the color fill first or doing the inking first is what I'm trying to say. And then you can trim the color fill later. It doesn't really matter too much, whatever's comfortable for you. It's just I'm more in a realm of what I am used to when I get to turn it into my own little coloring book. But, we actually are already on a dry brush, and I want to adjust it from there. And I forgot to bring out my little brush assistant. If you wouldn't mind waiting on me just one singular moment. Here we go. Just firing up some Lazy Nizumi on my end. You don't need it, but it's a nice little quality of life thing. Here we go. Alright, and you don't see that, but you do see PureRef. And PureRef has given us the little spider webs and, of course, the initial prompt that all this came from. So what I was thinking for this gentleman here, of which somebody will hopefully name soon, is to put a few more neck wrinkles on him, because he's a big monster. We love him, but he is, conventionally speaking, a monster. Here, I'm gonna reduce some of that weight on the brush. So, and I know we didn't get any complaints about this, but I'm gonna try and twist and turn the canvas a lot less because I feel like that could be disorienting to people. At different events, I have gotten like a similar complaint. So I'm trying to make. You saw me do it a little crinkly way before. And I don't want to make it bulge too much to make it look like he's a thumb or whatever. And I don't want to make it crinkle up like paper. I want to reach a midpoint where it looks like, as you might guess, flesh. Just like how your skin might wrinkle around your neck. Because he's just like the rest of us. Alright. And so, here we go. And I'm just using my eraser here to get in there and make sure that we get rid of the existing neck part that could confuse us. That's just my preference. Then we zoom out to see the reference for like how it looked over there. This is still not the final version, so it can look a little messy still. Alright. And there is a high possibility that I am going to make that into like a squiggle when we get to the inking phase. But, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now to get a gander at the whole thing, just to make sure before we continue that there's not too much that we want to amend. Maybe we want to do some like little cracks in the cauldron here. Better get it in now rather than later. And yeah, so nothing that's like too deep. Maybe like a little schmutz around the crack. Like, you know, make it ambiguous as to whether it's coming from the inside of the cauldron or whether it dripped up from up here. Oh, and I definitely want to add some residue. Some residue all around, because it's not like it's going to be theatrically limited to just facing the audience. And it's also not going to be uniform around the whole edge. I'm trying to think about this methodically now. So here we go. So just as randomized as you can do it. Just, and not like evenly spaced, because that's not how nature works. Maybe some little blobbies here, as it's like maybe it's not a very well maintained cauldron, so it's like coagulating and getting all gloopy in certain parts. But now, yeah, just wherever it might have flowed, just establish that there's a little bit of muck and residue. So like this one is then like a second layer of like, maybe this one is more baked on and this one was thinner and more recent. You know, this should look like a little bit crusty of a cauldron. And just, once you have a rhythm going like that, just try and follow it. And if it starts to look like lips like this kind of does, then, you know, that's whose business is it? And maybe have like a little bit of built up gunk. Not too much on the same level though, because that's not how it would work. There we go. And yeah, this is looking pretty good. Little tiny schmutz here. And going like way over like that. Someone got real excited one time when they were at the cauldron. And like, so just some built up crustiness right there. Alright. And I want to see about adding like a little metal bracket here. There we go. Metal bracket here to where like it, just because it's pretty, to where the clasp attaches to that, the little handle. Some screws. Don't go like super deep, but deep enough. And it's not symmetrical on the other side. Let's say it's a bit of a, this was a bit of a garage job, so we can still play into that. Someone fixed this up. Maybe we'll put some like screw holes that are more symmetrical on this side, just to establish that this thing was broken and fixed a few times over the course of the time in this community. And part of the, so I it was kind of an oversight that I drew it closed like that instead of across both like you see over here, because, well, it was an oversight because it was an oversight, but I'm justifying it with that's basically they only had enough for one piece, or they only thought it'd be appropriate for one piece. Maybe the metal is still here from the position it's supposed to be, so you're gonna, but it's like peeling off and bent. So it's like kind of hard to carry too, but not many people move it. It mostly just stays put. You know, it's kind of a repair job that should have been done a while ago, but nobody got around to it. So this metal flap, which is going to look like a clearer metal flap, is poking out. We're going to establish that a little better at this stage by erasing a bunch of the surrounding stuff in the middle. So yeah, now you can clearly tell that is something. You know, that's a thing that's there. And it's still not totally symmetrical, but it gets the message across. It could just be messed up enough that it just drooped that far, it got cracked, and, you know, but you don't want to make too many excuses for your art, otherwise it's not too believable. But we'll move on until we can better handle it. Alright. Now, oh, and I barely even put anything down here. Let's say there was like a bigger crack and someone trying to like duct tape it. I was gonna say like someone tried to knit something onto it, but I don't think that would fit this kind of situation. It would be cuter, but so someone tried to duct tape it, because not everybody knows how to maintain a cauldron properly. And hydration. Give me 1 second. All right. Where was I? Ah, yeah. So the crack. So now, doing a little bit more. Want to give it like a natural structure of some kind. And I don't know that I'm succeeding, but we're doing it together, and that's what counts here in the workshop. All right. God, it is so not believable that this wouldn't leak. So there's still going to be a bunch of leakage here. It's going to hold together reasonably well. I'm probably also going to put some like gunk from some tacked together cement style adhesive, just because that duct tape is not believably just holding it. So there's the leakage, and then there's the tacked on crusty, gunky solution that didn't need to be put on this one because it's a smaller crack. And then there's like a much smaller, nobody's even got to think about a crack over here. No, that might be a bit much. But I do want to add like some scuffiness to it in some way. Okay, what I'm probably going to do is lower the opacity of it, maybe? Like, what would be on here? Oh, so the dust can be on here if it's, like, mostly uniform? Let's give it a shot. This is the same solution that we did for, like, the grooves on the horns. No, I think it should be even lower opacity. Yeah, like a 10%, let's go. Yeah, this is much more appropriate. Okay. And so, like, here we go, the warmth. I don't know if more of this would be on the warmer spots or less of it. And I also want to, like, maybe a burn mark somewhere, but I don't know how I would establish that. We'll figure it out. Back up to 100% opacity and taking down the size of the brush. And I think every detail as of yet has been addressed in one way or another. So, at least for now, I'm going to proceed on to the inking phase. My heart's not set on it, but I'm going to give it a try, because that's what's important. And so lower the opacity of the pencil, and make a bunch of the other stuff invisible, raise back up some of that pencil, because it's not standing out very much in there. I actually also might change the color of that. Let's make that like a dark blue, let's say. Maybe a red. No, a dark blue works. Okay, so then just raise the opacity just slightly. Just a little bit. No, dark blue blends in too much. Let's go with... Oh. Okay, I have an idea. So we'll bring this all the way up there with the lower opacity, and then we'll take the background black and we'll raise that up, and like in a background sort of way that really serves the gothic Halloween-y appeal to the piece. Alright, and now we see everything enough. Frankly, for this I might actually draw more often on a dark gray background rather than light gray. Usually I use dark gray as like a backup, but this is really working for me. Okay. It's really soothing my brain. So now we have bright white and or bluish white, and we have a contrast to the black that we're about to use. Now, the black on the final piece is not going to be... Like, this inking is not going to be black in the final piece, is what I'm trying to say. This black can be changed with something being clipped to the layer below. Be any color we want. So whatever color we pick for the hair, which we don't have to do yet. So hold off on all your thoughts and theories. But roughly you'd give the shadow color to the line work, outside of like some exceptions that we will find when we get there. And this is just the first pass of inking before we get some real perspective on what this is supposed to look like. Here we go. Yeah, just get that roughly there. So like inking in my favorite styles doesn't look so clean like it might look in an anime, for instance. At least that's the kind of anime that I've seen. I'm not too experienced in it. I like it when the inking looks like it was a painted brush, but just a specific kind of strength. I don't even know how to describe it. It feels like a really smooth kind of acrylic. A dry brush. I mean, literally, that's the brush that I'm using to ink this. And if you're curious what specific dry brush this is from, as I probably mentioned last stream, the Draw with Josiah Brooks brush set. Ultimate brushes, whatever it's called. It's from his shop. But there are also plenty of free brushes, and brushes that just frankly come with the program that work pretty well. It's just I like to use this one. And just erase whatever you need if it's a particularly broad brush. And this is looking awesome. And if there's any details you missed that you can use context clues for, you can make it symmetrical, or you can just add details as you go. And I think I realized what is wrong with this. I knew that I wanted to change something about it, and I think it's that it's not really coming up to the front side of his skull. And I don't want to change the brush size too much actually yet. I'm going to take care of that later. But I want to keep it consistent for the outer line around the character. And then, okay, this I'm actually going to have to turn it a bunch for. And then for the inner lines, those will be thinner. That feels right. That's a good concave, no, convex sort of look to the skull. There we go. There we go. And this is where the horn goes, so you got some real sturdy, thick, aggressive lines for just, these look like they're not going anywhere, like they're almost made of stone for the horns. And funnily enough, since art is such a process, this does not have to be the final deciding spot of anything you do either. This can also be an adaptive process, because we are making art. All right. Here we go. And I'm just going to turn it around a bit. Make sure I get the right hand curve on there. Do something until it feels right. Different stuff on top of different stuff. Here we go. All right. Oh, I like the little effect that has coming from the corner. I don't know if I'm going to preserve it the exact same way, but it works really well for now. Oh, this has to be thinner compared to the top of the skull. This is why we constantly zoom out and double check our work. Get a new perspective on the same piece. I would prefer if the lines on that horn looked smoother, but we can redo that later once we know more of the general look. This is like the more stressful part as well for a lot of people, because I'm a very anxious dude, and so when you get to the part that's going to be like the final part, seen by, you know, wherever you post it, whoever you show it to, it's like, wow, this is everything. But we do our best, and that's all anybody should expect of us. Here we go. Here we go. Smooth that out. This is looking really good so far. If you're following along and it looks this messy, I want you to pat yourself on the back. That is perfect. Here we go. Hey. Oh, come on. Okay, that's the bottom of the chin. Difficult curve where big smooth parts meeting other big smooth parts is really difficult. But we're doing this together. It might just have to be a case of mess it up and then clean it up after the fact instead of get it right the first time like we might with other parts of our line work. Just depends what the piece calls for. When you're making any kind of art, you have to be able to sit with yourself and go, you know what, this is going to be a mistake at first. And sometimes I won't even know what the mistake is. Or if I do, I won't even know what I want to do better with it, but I got a close idea. I want to follow it. And unless this guy's jaw is lopsidedly sore, we need to reshape that. Yeah. So, and I want to stay on the same brush just because I want to stay in the... So I'm turning the same brush into eraser mode. I want to keep it on that. Just to keep us in dry ink mode. This is the same problem I had with the mouth way back when, and I'm starting to think it's an ear problem. And I'm starting to think I don't want to fix the ears just to fix it. No, I think I know what I might do. So, if I have the right... There we go, that's the selection tool. Gonna take this, and then I really hope this is gonna work. So I'm gonna, you can see me rotate these handles. I'm using the outer handles there to adjust what angle I have it selected from. Then I'm gonna shear it like, no, that doesn't work. You're gonna shear it like that and bring it out. This is just the free transform tool, because I want to bring the jawline. If you see the line of the jaw here, I want it to like meet closer to there. That works, as long as I just redo the upper part. That's not a crisis. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, nerve-wracking though. Because like it looks so almost there. There's so many parts of this that work so well. And you don't want to like, because how many times have you made an art piece where you tried to fix every little part of it and then it ends up further and further and further from what you wanted in the first place? But hey, anxiety is okay. We hold our hand through it. And that little outer part for the ear. Come over the arch. Feel it out. Get a feel for the anatomy of whatever creature it is you're drawing. I gotta get this out of the way. You can't see that, but that's lazy to zoom in. Okay, here we go. Much more drawing room. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, I want to cool it with the pressure on there. But we're getting somewhere. I might want to have it lighter on the inside part of this outline than it is on the outside, just so that there's some definition where it meets the lighting and shadows. It's unclear of how this should be, but I'm getting a good feeling about it. I might just blend it later when I'm in the blending phase. I like to keep things in their own phase. Right, I'm definitely going to take those little bites. Then I'm going to do them later. Or can I get away with... Yeah, I can get away with some version of them now and redo them later. Alright, and then that part. So we have the outline of his head so far. Want to make sure that nothing's so strongly wrong before I go onto the inner line. And also we are at 10 pixels for that brush. Also make it a little more consistent. You might have even pointed that out before, now that you're watching. But the question is, how do you fix that without messing up parts around it? We take our time. Oh, and this is when you find out that the horns have a lopsided design. Sometimes people use a mirror for this, but I want to trust us to redo, to mess up and to redo again. Yeah. Alright. So, actually, I'm going to undo this whole part, because I'm quite happy with the other horn. This horn was fine too. It's a matter of taste, but I want to make this match up more. I want to make it clear that it arches up like that. Yeah. And get that curve right. That's a hard one. Come on. There you go. It's like I feel it. I feel it. It's like it's bent, like a deliberate thing. Oh, and I lost the little line down here. Okay, so we'll redo that. Okay. So, oh, it might have been that one of those times it was fine, but I needed more of the corner here replicated on the other side. The temptation comes at all these times to just copy and paste and flip and then merge down. And while that's also like an amount of tedious work that I don't feel like, but would make it technically easier, it's also like not much of a smaller hurdle than just redrawing it while I'm here. And I want to give us the practice of getting intimate with our art and what it means to get it right and what it means to get it wrong. I now might not even have to adjust that top corner. I probably will, but I don't think I have to. So now for the inner details, I'm going to make the brush about half. It was at 10 before, size 10, and now I'm going to experiment with making it half for the inner details, like the hairline. Like that. And the scalp. Oh, wait, no, so not the scalp there. Now I remember the hair goes here. So now, but it's like it's jagged because it's a hairline. All right. And now that one's gonna take a much tinier brush. Let's go for all the stuff that this can suit in the first place. I'm gonna see how much I can do this with just like a freehand thing rather than deliberately going for every single little bump. Because if you can ever cheat it, or just turn it into a rhythm rather than a super hard work, I highly recommend it. That is what art is about. Okay. Pardon me. Okay. Now the outline of this eye. Actually, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to reserve that for like a much bigger brush doing the eye, because I want to entirely give that its own color like I do with most of my other art. Hold on. Here we go. So the eyebrows are definitely ready to be done with this brush. A little smoother at the bottom. It just feels more right to have it like jagged at the top and smoother at the bottom where it actually meets the head, whereas it's got these little bristly, brushy parts. It's like form is conflicting with, well, the clean form of it, where it's coming out of the body. The natural feeling one is contending with being unkempt, right? And then a bunch of like hairy lines there that we'll redo later. And then more of dry brushes are so useful. It's just it's that brush that just gets the right vibe for line work, and I'm so appreciative of it. Excuse me. It makes things feel definitively outlined, but also painterly, in just the right ratio. And like that is about as close to perfect as we're gonna get for those eyebrow shapes. Might feel differently a little time from now, but I feel this way now. So just gonna like give that a quick scribble, and then a curve over here. That I'll probably underside the. I'm going to erase part of the underside of this bit so that it can taper out. Because this is not a brush that especially deals in thinness. There we go. Oh yeah, there. Okay. Yeah, Yeah, this is good. This is really, really good. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Look at those cheeks. And now some mouth here. I'll probably do the teeth with a similar size brush, probably the same one. Might have to do multiple passes of the inking if we're going to stay this messy, or maybe use it to our benefit because it's already quite a Halloween themed piece. A little stretchy flesh corner here of the mouth. The big clean curves, always gonna get you. Right. Oh yeah, okay. And so it not being as much of a clean curve actually kind of serves it because he's a big brute of an ogre or a gargoyle goblin. I have a feeling I'm getting insensitive past a certain point where like I'm calling different creatures different creatures. You should call them by what they are. Well, this thing is technically a gargoyle, so I'm going to call him that. Do gargoyles need wings? I'm going to Google that in a bit. Because from what I can tell, like he might have really tiny wings, but it doesn't look like he has wings. No. Okay. Oh, I forgot I was going to use the number 5 here for the teeth as well, which is going to be, I want to say a little easier because they're straighter, but who knows? Who knows? Love throwing Doctor Who references. Alright, here we go. Ah, yes, and the little gum lines. This is perfect. And those teeth grooves are gonna be with the smaller brush as well, but these ones, no. These ones are gonna be with this brush. Same brush, different size. Look at how pretty this boy is. There you go. It's just all coming together so well. I'm loving it. Okay, so let's take this down to 3. We'll say 3. The previous brush size was 5. This should work. Once we get down to the pixels like this, it gets a little different, but I do like the Clip Studio Paint still has the brush dynamics. I mean, what else are you going to do with this scale? Also, I'm not paid by Clip Studio Paint to say any of this. I just really like their software. The only thing I don't like about them is the required subscription model for the mobile version, especially when like the PC version so beautifully has a perpetual license like I'm using now. But yeah, no. They are their own company, and I am not paid by them. I just like them. Here we go. And take on as many curves in one go as you can with any given drawing. Yeah, because if like it can give it a nice like I don't know what to call it, but like a natural like aesthetic flow if your wrist can just swoop into it. We stretch real quick. Hoi. Okay. And just the best little outline you can do. using just your instincts to determine the width variance, and if it doesn't look very good, we just keep going and seeing what's wrong until it does. And now we're doing, of course, the princess within the sticker. Not going to be a smaller line at this scale, but it's going to be the spirit of a smaller line, if you know what I mean. And judging by the pencil work, I'm thinking like this princess is like a princess scarecrow. So we're going to give her hands like a scarecrow. Just feels right. There we go. And there's like the ruffle of her skirt. Perfect. And a little scarecrow. There we go. I don't even know if it's going to be recognized as a scarecrow style thing, or if it's just going to look like some toddler really badly drew the hands. I don't know. I'm going to enjoy it. So there's the little feetsies. At this scale, I probably won't draw shoelaces to make the piece less cluttered, but oh god, that needs to be redone later. Those semicircles need to look much straighter. I might do parts of this off camera, but there's still plenty I can do while I'm already here in the workshop. Ow, don't take care of the eyes yet. That'll probably be a merge down thing. Create a new layer and merge down for it. But out here can be... Well, no, the teeth can be done. And the nostrils. Okay, we got work to do. So, nostril. And nostril. And teeth. Oh, gums first. Gums. Yes. Feel out the visual rhythm. And it works perfectly. A little bit of gum decay from a big mean monster. Not so mean. He's doing this for his niece, so big nice monster. And adding in a little more details than the original had, like the teeth are actually jutting out above the rest of the crack as well. You can come up with all these little ideas right in the middle of the process. And the ears. Ear canal, just with the most basic curves. And the other ear canal. There we go. And a bunch of that earwax. Not sure if it's gonna look like that though. I'm most probably going to need to do a second pass of the inking before going on to... Ah! Lady Goo! How long you been there? Hi, how you doing? I'm not too bad. Thank you for asking. How am I? If you have anything to request, I'd be happy to put another draft layer on here so that you can request something to add. I hope I didn't catch you too late. I hope you're still there. Our OC's okay. You're gonna have to send me a reference image in the Discord server, but as long as it's family friendly, I don't see why not. Though do keep in mind I am going to be posting this to my own social medias. I will be crediting you if it's your OC. We can like tentatively put it in here at least. I can work on it on the stream whether or not I include it in the final piece. So I'm gonna leave that up to you, but the Discord link should be in my profile for you to send it to. Yeah, so I'll wait until I see that for you. But you can also request anything else that you want until I see that post in the Discord. So anything simpler, anything that, you know, can just has a bunch of room for interpretation. Okay. shall put it in Discord. I shall wait for the Discord post. Since I'm in streamer mode, I'm going to be checking just every like little while here. Every like, let's say 30 seconds. That's the vague neckline. Like, at first I was annoyed that I would be doing multiple inking passes, because that's kind of confirmed at this point. But I'm kind of making peace with it. It's not that bad, especially since this dry marker is beautifully fluid. Okay, and by the way, for when you do get in the Discord server... so I think I see you in there. If, yeah, I don't want to, like, reveal your name on stream, but I think I see you in there. So reference for stream is the channel you want to put that in if you want to see it in here. And then you'll, once I get to copy that, I'll be putting it in pure ref, as you see, up here. So now doing some muscle definition on this big hulker. So where the apex goes, you want to put like maybe just the slightest little bit of corner. And I would argue for like some dimension, add a little erase version of the same brush. When you're in crit, there's an explicit eraser mode. In here, it's a transparency mode. And it just like kind of adds some dimension to stuff if you almost emulate the lighting with a less opacity version of the same brush, or you could just go back over and erase it a little bit. So yeah, right there in the reference for stream channel, because I do see that you joined. Here we go. Okay, and I'll only have about an hour from when you post it to work on this here. But, yeah, because I'm just waiting on that message. Because we're about halfway through this Tuesday stream, and I come back here weekly. When I want to erase a little bit of that, lightly erase. There we go. Just a little dimension of the brush left. There we go. On the inside there, and the rest is a hard line. And I'm kind of winging the proportions with just what feels right according to the muscle. And it looks about, I think that looks about right for his elbow. Now also I'm doing this thicker line to define that this is where the barrier for the outline of the actual arm is. And then the thinner outline will go over top of the inner portions here. And a light erase just to taper that out. There we go. Might be a hard erase on some part of that. Yeah, some like... this feels right. A little muscle outline. Yeah. Some version of that feels so right, and I can't tell exactly how yet. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it for now. It feels super right the more I look at it. It looked like I had some conflicts in my head, but I think we can leave that the way it is for now. Would you like Spinosaurus Lady Goo said, would you like Spinosaurus costume or Foxy one? Now, I can post it just looking at something. That's fine. I'm gonna let you pick. I don't have any... If Foxy's a Five Nights at Freddy's one, I don't have anything to weigh in on that. Spinosaurus, if that's just a dinosaur, I'm a big dinosaur guy more than a FNAF guy. So if that answers your question, then that answers your question. Yeah, because I know basically nothing about Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, I know very basic animatronics or something. I like the movie. I remember seeing lore videos way back when. So I consume most of my gaming content. Oh, yeah, okay, so for this part, broad brush for that part of it that you saw. And then, yeah, and then there's just these little eraser indents, kind of like if you're doing the forehead nerve on like an anime character. Because like you want the muscles to be pinching in on the shadow line. These muscles are just bulging in at each other, and that's how you define that. To my knowledge, light erase. There we go, and get handier with that. Here we go. And doing more of... This should be a thicker line for this part of the arm just because there's more mass to it. If you have something big, like if you have something a bigger mass with a thin line, then it doesn't really make as much sense. It should feel like the mass of the line respects the mass of the object or character. For what reason, I'm not exactly sure, but that's just how I've always seen it, and it makes sense to me. Oh, the character. This is just some gargoyle, but if you want to call him Bowser, I am 100% cool with that because we have a thing for name this man. All right, Bowser is his name. There we go. Here we go. Okay. And just doing more mass lines here. You can hear that I'm getting in the zone because like I'm talking less, but I'm just drawing more of the... Okay, so I've gotten onto the actual cauldron part. Let's see. Okay, so now there is a forearm. And yeah, I'm smoothing that out because it was wrinkly at first. And below this, I know this is part of the sweater. That should have some swifter lines so that it has an appearance of stretching out the sweater. Here we go. And for the same reasons as the pinchy up there with the muscle line should be the armpit. There we go. And I'm just like erasing wherever I think the muscles would make an effect. And then smoothing it out with a much smaller version of the same brush. Now, I am growing enough of a comfort level with this during drawing it that I am not sure that I have to keep so much of an eye on the brush with. Keeping an eye on the brush with... Oh, here we go. Okay. Now we have our bearings. So I'm going to add another draft layer and then get back to where are my tools. Hold on. So give me 1 second to find where I actually put my construction brush. Was it under pencils? Yeah. Ah, okay, there's my construction pencil. Here we go. Trusty construction. Okay. Now, so what should he be doing in here? Like, do you know what you want him to do, or do you want just me to decide? Because I can like say he's like peeking over the shoulder here. Oh, it's still on eraser mode. I can say he's like peeking over the shoulder here. And like his hands are going like this. You know, like fingers curling over him. Maybe they're both trying to get this done, so the pinky's red and up there. And then we're doing the silhouettes here. And the broad neck, you said I could decide, so I'm gonna see what I can do here. Just gonna thicken up the brushwork here. So that's where the neck is gonna be. And his hair goes like that, roughly. All right. Here we go. And so I just want to fill that in and make it consistent with the rest of the silhouette. And I want his face to be like... I want his face to... So he's going to be facing... Like, his head is going to be facing right toward the viewer. But then his eyes are going to be like... His face is going to be concerned. As, like, he doesn't know if this potion's going to work. And, yeah, so each eye is going to be a different color, just like right here. The eyes are going to be so much smaller. I made them too big here. There we go. Oh, okay, I understand what I did wrong. There we go. Opacity went down. The opacity be all the way up. Okay. Now, I don't want, I tend to have a habit of doing all of the eyebrows I ever do basically the same way, which is how my eyebrows in real life work. And so I'm going to try and stray away from that for yours. He's got some dad eyebrows. And there's this nose. It looks like just, you know, kind of an average nose. Nothing to write home about. Okay. And he's got bangs in front of his face. Very anime inspired. Yeah. Like, I'm not sure that I know what the deal is here, but I'm going to give it my best shot because that's all anybody can do. Here we go. And that's like the structure of one of his bangs. And then like this part right here. And then it, like, I hope I'm getting this structure right. Because I'm already not that used to drawing hair. That's something that I could use to get a lot more used to. But I think that's solid. That seems like it works. And so his jaw is like kind of poking out down there in a way that it doesn't quite in the original piece, just because he's doing an exaggerated expression. And yeah, I'm just kind of feeling it out. Just to make sure I got this. And that ear, of course. Now, it's not behind much of the hair. The only part of the hair that it wants to be behind is the bangs, so I might have to resituate the bangs. And the eyes are way farther apart than this, so I'm gonna fix that. So no, he's not looking off to the left. And I'm gonna see about like extending that eyebrow, or just moving it so that it like doesn't look like it's centered weirdly. Yeah, because I usually don't draw someone else's piece very much. I usually just interpret my own thing. There we go. I hope this has been satisfactory, because this is like, what you're seeing now is close to as good as it's gonna get. Yeah. Gunther goes goblin mode. Hi, good to see you. You said hi, Lady Goo again. Was Lady Goo here before? I didn't see Lady Goo here last stream. Or, I mean, maybe you're coming from another stream. Far be it of me. Okay. I am going to fix this part. Just going to completely redo that bit because it feels like it should be bigger compared to... Because this is encompassing his head. So, like, this almost feels like fingers on a hand, these bangs. And that is not a bad thing. It's something I haven't seen before, but it's a very interesting style. Like, it's, like, do you see what I mean? Like, it kind of feels like it almost if you put, like, a thumb right here, it's like a claw coming out. There's something about it. She goes to a lot of these art request streams like you do. So, may I request... Ooh, yeah, you can request whatever you want. Try and keep it tame, but, whatever it is that you want within those realms. Oh, I just realized I was on the wrong brush. But that works. I don't see any reason it doesn't. Yeah. There's a Discord server. Oh, you're a male. I'm sorry. So I apologize if I misgendered you. There we go. Okay. Yeah, Lady Goo. I assumed by the name Lady that you go by she/her pronouns, but if you do not, then I respect that. Okay, and here's more of the fingers. There we go. Okay. So that's just some finger definition while we're in the early stages here. Oh, like you as in like this is like your face. Okay. Are you sure you want your face in here? Like cuz your face is going to be not in the in the piece, but it's going to be on the stream while I'm drawing it. It's going to be on the stream for most of that time. Okay, just making sure. As long as you are informed, then we're good. So that finger actually might be gigantic. I'm going to have to redo that. Here we go. But those fingers are going to curl inward a little bit. And this part is like going to go... Yeah, that's much better, that shape. Okay. Here we go. It's a cartoon version of me, so it's not easy to see me IRL and recognize from a cartoon. Okay, that's I can vibe with that. As long as whatever it is that you're sending, you have responsibility for, and you give consent to it being seen. I have no issue with that. As long as you join the Discord and you send it, because I don't see it from here. And by the way, welcome to my workshop. We draw basically anything here. By the way, I totally forgot to even introduce to you. This is so this whole piece is just to get everybody refreshed. So this is a gargoyle, and he's cooking stuff at a cauldron for his niece. And there's a little Jack Skellington pumpkin here. And he's putting in like some solid ingredients like that crystallized plant over there and some stuff from the beaker. He's got a Halloween sweater, and he's got a mohawk and some horns and a little princess sticker up there that I forgot to do the neckline for her dress. And the gargoyle's name is Bowser. And next to it is a spider web with a spider on it, taking a picture of this whole operation, getting involved. If whatever profile picture you're looking for you want me to draw, then you have to send it in the Discord server. There's no other way I'm going to see it. Okay, and so I'm going to now put this in a layer group. If you'll give me uno momento. There we go. Okay, so then I'm going to reduce the layer of this portion. And I'm going to give that next layer a white color. I'm experimenting with another kind of skeletal work here to see if it'll work out. I'm really excited about this. Okay. So then we'll go over to our realistic pencils. Oh, I just realized I didn't do any definition for the neck, but we can do that totally right now. And there is the shape of the jaw. And adding some definition I forgot to put in earlier, because we could do that anytime we want. And the eraser was so big earlier. Yeah, that makes more sense for the shape. If not, we can go back. All right, and so basically I'm using a colored pencil now, like a chalkboard, and I'm gonna see how well it works. Like, I do have a certain amount, like, more familiarity and comfort level with, like, stuff looking like black pencil. We'll give this a shot. Always stretch your boundaries. The boundaries of your art. And thank you for making me more familiar with hair now. Because, good God. I think at any time I've drawn anything else, it's not like I've never drawn hair before, but I've taken great lengths to avoid it. And so it is a good thing that you requested something that does have hair, so that we can get our practice in. What is... Yeah, okay. I get this. I get you. There is like a, especially with like the lo-fi going on in the background, there is like a calmingness to the dark background with the light skeletal work. I don't know what it is that I'm vibing with so much about it, but I like it. And there's where the eyebrows go. Okay, still checking for that reference image. Okay, you take your time. This is where that eye goes. Yeah, one thing that I really like about programs like Clip Studio Paint, and I'm sure this applies in other art software as well, I just don't know how, like, this is the only software where I know how to do this. I don't know how in Krita as much, but you can change the color of an entire layer, because I was like, ah, damn. I was like, you know, I have committed to making this a white layer, and with everything else, it's a black skeletal layer. But really, all of this is in black, even the blue bits. It's just that the layers are colored. So, like, I could bring everything to a home base of just a black outline on, like, a pale, not quite white, because that'd be abrasive, but a pale background. Entirely reversible. That's what I'm keen on. And there's the nose. And here's this worried, desperate facial expression. And jawline. Now, I'm actually going to ask you guys a question if you don't mind answering in chat. Does it make you dizzy if I, like, keep twisting and turning the canvas so that I can get comfortable angles to draw stuff from? Because that's what I've been cautious of when it comes to doing more lines right side up. I don't want to whip you around in a way that makes you sick. Whoa, that is a nice profile picture. I like that a lot. Okay. Funny, this actually looks not that far from like a profile picture of my real face that I used to have. I think it's still on my Microsoft account or something. Here we go. So there in PureRef is your profile picture. How do you want him in here? I don't have a like huge clue as to how to, unless it's like over the other shoulder if you want to accompany your buddy over here. Because I don't want to just straight up copy the same facial expression over to here, but like that would fit really shockingly well over there. Let me add another draft layer and put it in another layer folder. There. Okay. That makes sense. And then go back to the construction pencil. Trusty construction pencil. Because, yeah, okay, so it's not quite the exact same thing if I have him facing the same symmetrical facial expression as the dad over here from the other person's OC. It's like, it's close. So if you want something else, let me know. But I'm going to start with that. Yeah. So there's the general head structure. It's got like way more of like a V shape there for the face. Yeah. Now, both of you are going to have quite a square jaw, but I guess, you know, it kind of fits in. But your jaw should be much more narrow because theirs had much more of an emphasis on musculature. So I'm going to start with your jaw. I'm going to start with your jaw, and then we'll move on to the neck. So this is going to establish the front-facing portion of it. Okay. And then your neck is going to go here. Maybe like this in my style. Yeah, like it feels like it's slightly thinner. I got that. And then the rest of your head, the rest of your hair is like boom. I might even draw it bigger because like, there's something vaguely Bride of Frankenstein I want to do with this, especially since we're getting closer to that season. Like, I'm not gonna go full beehive on it, but it's so tempting with a nice big afro. Yeah, so he's clearly gonna give like a just a scared, breathless look to him. Maybe no. He's gonna be the one. So it's like an angel and devil comparison on the shoulders. He's gonna be like the same eyebrow kind of thing, but like he's going to have the clear eyebrow definition here helps. And okay, but it's got to be clear he's looking down. Hold on. So that should do it. Yeah, okay, that feels right. You gotta be south of that eye line. Okay. So he's doing the same eyebrowy facial expression. That seems important to this character. And I don't want to give him a sinister smile. I want to give him the same, like flat smile, but I want to make it a little derpy. Like, just because I think it'd be fun and funny. Yeah, this makes perfect sense. Okay, I like this. And then the nose is more square. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Kinda got it. I'm just replicating shapes now with what I think fits. I'm trying to combine both art styles as I do this. It's not gonna work! We're combining dimensions! No, that I shouldn't fill that in because that's less indented. Okay, then the hairline up here is gonna be a little easier than on the other one. Feel free to chime in if you don't like anything that's happening, by the way. Asking me to do something a little different if you want. And if you don't want, I'll just keep going. No, but that ear only juts out that far in the original image because he was facing that way. But now he's facing us. So it's a little narrower. And we're just following the similar lines. But I'm going to say it's over here since he's just barely still facing away. There's going to be a stronger forehead line there. This is promising. I'm really liking this. Yeah, this is perfect. And oh, I almost forgot your little beard. And that little underline for your lip. So there's the beard. So it's gotta have the right shape there. Yeah, that totally works. Okay. So I am going to establish a bit of the pencil work over here before going back to the original one, because the other one was like more or less done in concept. So I want to give this one more of a level playing field. But then I forgot to lower the opacity on this. There we go. Now. Aha! Yes. So. might do with this phase is use the inking brush, because that actually worked quite well before. I might not need the pencil unless it's in black. It's all a matter of perspective here. I might give that a try. This like feels, there's something about this that feels like wrong, and like about using the final inking brush for this, but of course it's not. It's just, it's got this thrill to it, because it's like I usually reserve the dry ink brush, my inking brush, for the actual inking phase, or at least the first one. But now I'm using it for construction, or an element of it. And it feels like a secret hidden tool. Use the good stuff if you want the good stuff, folks. Use your nice plates. All right. I'm getting more happy with this. And then, like, a smaller line here for... And that'll do that for now. But seriously, let me know if I make some... Oh, yeah, you're handsome like that. I agree. Let me know if you want me to stop twisting and turning the canvas, though. I did hear clearance around that, and I just want to make sure that I'm not making anybody nauseous when I do that. There's the other corner of the mouth, and here's some nose. And just doing different sizes to make sure I get all the dynamic shapes right. This is really stretching me, because like I'm mostly just used to doing characters of my own style, and normal people don't explicitly ask me to redraw their OC in something. And I think this is a good exercise. Frankly, I might keep those floodgates open, depending on how things go. But I don't want future pieces to revolve around it. Part of the reason why I even permitted 2 in a row here is because we have it already focused on so many original stuff, so we can slide in 2 of these. All right. Now, so many original stuff is, of course, excluding the Jack Skellington pumpkin. Now we good? Thank you so much, Gunther. Much appreciated. Alright, and... there we go there. More jaw over here, and the lines here, more defined. Beautiful, beautiful. So the inside of his ear is a little bit different. What do I do about that? I'm like trying to give it some thought. Like, because usually, so when I do the inside of an ear, it's almost always something like that, because I think that's the proper way to do an ear. But this feels like if I were to, like, this is usually the upper arch part, and that part right here takes care of that inner hoop. Okay. And then there's this bit. I don't know what this bit is, the middle line, but it works. As long as I perspective situate that, there we go. And I definitely need to redo this bit so that it like covers more of it. Yeah, because this is the structure of an ear we're talking about. Okay. This really is a puzzle. Okay. Here we go. And hairlines should usually be broken up a certain amount, depending on the thickness of the hair, how disturbed it is. They should be like mostly connected, but with little holes like this. And you do something resembling that. It's just in my style, it works a little bit differently. Everybody's got a different style. Right, and then those shapes can be vague in the construction process. Let's just get that out of the way. Pardon. And now the part that I am waiting for, and that is a nice, thick, meaty outline for the hair. Oh, God. Such a beautiful outline for this glorious fro mane. I'm very clown-like IRL, and I like that about me, and I like that about you too, Gunther. Like, do you mean you're animated like a... You know, just like an animated person? The first thing that came to mind, I was gonna say, is like a Chuck Jones on the set of Termite Terrace, but like that's a super like in joke. Good to see you, Drowberry Legend. Hello. If you'd like to request anything, feel free. Welcome to my workshop. This is where we make cartoons out of stuff, and you're seeing the product of that. Several different layers of it. Two OCs are just coming in fresh. Two folks in chat. This one on the left is by Lady Goo, and this one is by Gunther. Okay, another OC. Do you have? Okay, I'm sorry. I hate to do this to you, but do you have anything besides an OC that you'd like me to draw? Because I've been doing 2 in a row here, and I prefer original work. Just something you could describe, and I can interpret. As you do that, I'm going to continue on the glorious mane of afro hair. Oh yeah, so what I was talking about earlier with Chuck Jones, I remember, what documentary was it? There was somebody who was talking about what Chuck Jones was actually like. At the moment, I don't have any official character right now. No need if you just want to like literally request like just a general thing, Drowberry. Like for instance, you know, this main character in the middle just came from Gargoyle and Cooking. The cauldron I came up with, what he's putting in there I came up with. Sarah from the previous stream came up with the Halloween sweater, I believe, and also the Jack Skellington pumpkin. But yeah, what I was talking about earlier with Chuck Jones on the set of Termite... What was the documentary where they were talking about like how energetic and bouncy he was, which like reflected the animation style on the set? But that makes me like, you know, it makes me think of that when you mentioned that you're kind of a clown in real life, Gunther, which is a thing to be proud of. And if for those who don't know Chuck Jones and Termite Terrace, maybe who are watching this in post, that's the classic Looney Tunes cartoons from like the early mid 20th century. And just some like under definition here, some lumpy bits. Yeah. Whew. All right. Now I basically finished that one, so I think it's unfair for me to not come back to this. Yeah. I'm gonna redo a bunch of these lines, just because it looks so much cleaner. look at that. Did I even redo this portion? Oh, no, I didn't even start it with it. So what I started it with was the understructure part. That makes sense. Come on, and... Oh, yeah, I love doing that little corner at the bottom. For like a curl. Not like a curl, but... curls up on itself. And like that little crease. Here we go. Just going back over everything. I'm gonna try and think of something. You take your time, Drowberry. Now, don't take too much time because I'm only here for a half hour longer, but I will happily, what I'm gonna do is whatever you request will be, if I don't get to it this time, or if you can't come up with anything in a half hour for me to start, then I will write it down and I will start it next week. I do these every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're coming up on 7:34. I want to do these just for 2 hours. And so I will have yours first thing next one. Can I do Pokemon or I prefer humans? So, okay, I'm going to say I'm not going to rule out Pokemon. As a franchise, I don't personally prefer it, but I'm happy to draw it. I'm happy to draw it here, whatever silly situation we're going to do. So you pick whatever Pokemon you want, and I'll do it. Especially if it's like a chill one or a watery one, like a Snorlax or a Piplup, I want to say. I keep getting Piplup and Squirtle mixed up. No, Piplup. God, the one time I don't say Squirtle, and like, cause I usually say Squirtle when I mean Piplup. Okay, I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that. Kyurem. Kyurem. I am going to hunt for a reference image for that. Really quick. Kyurem Pokemon. I see a predictive text there. Okay, I'm gonna go with what looks like the most familiar version. And you tell me. So I'm gonna draw like a vague silhouette. Well, I mean, you'll see it in Pure Ref, actually, I was gonna say. You correct this if it doesn't seem like what you were looking for. Because I'm not even that well versed in Pokemon. And it'd be helpful if you also, you don't mind Kyurem Black. Oh, you tell me if, sorry, I see it down here. You tell me if that is what you're looking for. And also, preferably, what you'd like to see them doing. Maybe, actually. So, I'm not going to try and get that brush to go that big. That's going to lag me out. But, I'm going to go back to the construction brush. Construction pencil, I should say. Okay, so you like the picture. So, I have an idea for the pose. Okay, this is a challenge, but we can do it. So, okay, I forgot almost to put it on a new layer. In a new layer folder. I want to put each of these requests in its own layer folder. I think it deserves that. What I'm going to do is new draft layer here, and then delete that one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we got a draft layer here for Kyurem. I think I misspelled it, but apparently still worked. So the general shape is. So I want him to kind of be like. So I want it to be sort of half leaning on the gargoyle's shoulder, and I want it to. I guess I want it to be kind of like clunky, like the whatever you call these protruding bits from the head are almost getting in the way of the dad character over here. Let's see, and then the neck goes way down here. This is probably not true to scale, and I'm very comfortable with that. So then that neck is going like this, and the body is going behind, and it's kind of crawling. to be part of this? Yeah, it's crawling, and it's got like its arm poised like that right here. Like the claw is trying to lay down here. There's a lot of perspective stuff I am most likely not going to get correct. It's going to have to be treated as original as it is. And then that knee is going to be jutting out there. And that a wing right here, just so like you know it's there. And then another wing up here. And that should do it. Yeah, okay. So then now the eraser will take us to... Why is the music no longer playing? Oh, I just had to wait a second, okay. Here we go. Okay. So now we have the silhouette, and we're going to chip out of that to do all the details. No, I'm going to start with the face. I think I'm going to screw up all of the perspective if I don't start with the face in this case, because it's such a character I'm not used to. Okay. Not mad at it at all. This is a challenge. I like that. Okay. I'm just trying to get my bearings. So the face is definitely going to be facing like this way. Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's going to be like the tip of the eyebrow piece. Yeah. Okay. And that goes like way up. These two also aren't... They don't look like they're even. I assumed they would be. The two white prongs up there. That's fascinating and confusing. So I'm going to get that general shape of that prong, and then the yellow diamond bit. Yellow diamond? This isn't Steven Universe. I was watching Steven Universe a long time ago with my partner. Here we go. Like, is that gonna do it? I think it is. It looks like it doesn't, like when you're looking at this, you don't go, oh, that's a broken Pokemon. But when I draw it, it feels like that's a broken Pokemon. Yeah. A little bit to chip out of that. And I like the chin piece. Right. Let's go with it. And then piece there. Look at what happens when we work it through. All right. God. Am I controlling this brush, or is this brush controlling me? Okay. There's like basically the cowl, if you want to call it that. And then the face is in here. Yeah. The face is in there. Oh, okay. I misinterpreted a little bit. So we're on the right track. The way that my brain was formatting it, I thought it was kind of like the black portion here is like a wraparound screen kind of format. Very cartoony in that way, where it's like basically as if in universe its face was like drawn onto it, animated onto it. No, but this little bit that's like a concave portion of the face is part of the lip. It's got an underbite. I much more comfortably feel like I understand the face here now. Perfect. Yeah, that, well, Sorry. With respect, does this Pokemon see anything? Because it really feels like this piece is really in the way for Kyurem, if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm gonna give him just a little more eyepiece. Like, I feel bad for the little guy. Big guy, really. Just, I'm gonna make his eye a lot bigger. And that's where I'm gonna put the vertical slit, because that's what the eyes that I draw are. Good Lord, okay. There are so many little pieces to put perspective on. Okay, take it one piece at a time. The broader structure. Take a little sip for every time I say broader structure. No! Wait! There's another prong out of the head! Oh, no. Okay. The head has another prong, and it's like this. I don't even know where that goes. I'm glad that it's the same perspective of the head here as it is in there, because I don't know if that's like behind or below or whatever. Sorry, I sound like I'm complaining a whole bunch. I am into the challenge here. It's just, this is such a confusing format of a creature. I'm so deeply fascinated right now. Even in the realm of Pokemon, I didn't think it'd be this friggin' complicated. I assume this is like one big Kahone in there. And then the Pokemon gyms. I assume this is like the make most other Pokemon crap their pants sort of. You don't got this many battle lines on you without being a crap your pants Pokemon. Like, I really hope that's how the neck works. Okay, okay. And then you got like the... Is that like one piece? I think so. Yeah, that's one. That's probably one piece. I'll say that's one piece. That feels right. This feels correct. So that's like the shape of the belly. We'll add a little bit more here. And that's the belly. He's definitely like kneeling in an awkward position. This is not the most favorable kind of way to see this guy, but you know, he's doing his best to be present. The gargoyle is his friend. He wants to be present for this whole thing. He wants to help make the nieces present. Almost lost the plot a long time ago. And then, like, that piece goes like that. Right? I think so. You just gotta feel it out when in doubt, feel it out, you know? Oh no, but I need to have it way more down. So actually closer to what it's actually doing in the thing is more right for this. So that's like, yeah, that's where it meets the neck. Here we go. Yeah. Uh-huh. I'm gonna take some convincing, but I think we got it. I think this is happening. And the music seems to be on cue for that too. Yeah. And unusual curves. Beautiful. Beautiful. And a claw down there that I'm going to say, like, balls up into, like, a fist. Because that does make sense for, like, the pose. So, like, that's the thumb piece coming out. And it's just... He's like... So, I know I'm kind of cheating canon here, but, like, he's propping himself up on that elbow. And so doing an awkward position with the hand in order to do that. I think that's an acceptable excuse. Yeah. So that's where the thumb juts out. That's where the rest of it juts out. Yeah. And this is working out substantially better than I thought it would. The other arm seems more doable, which is really funny because it is the more obstructed one, but what can you do? So, yeah, he's propped up on his elbow, and so I think I've gotten the hardest parts done of this guy. Yeah. I gotta do those wings up there, though. That's not that hard, I don't think. Famous last words. Okay. So, okay, the mass is clearly here, so don't start from the stem of the wing. And that's where it meets that antenna. Okay, and then this piece. And then this. Yeah. Okay, okay. God, this makes me so scared. Then that has to have a little jutting out piece. And that'll do it for that guy. Okay, and then the one up here, I'm going to switch the color to white like the others. I'm going to lower the opacity of the construction layer. And then we will get to work on the final construction. Okay. Oh, it's still on eraser mode. Here we go. So then, this part will go so much quicker. So we got 8 minutes left of the stream. So we'll get in whatever we can until next week. I am debating in my head whether or not I will like continue parts of it off screen just so that we have more time for other things, because preferably I want to get a bunch of requests in here and add as much stuff as possible. Like, I want to fill up this canvas, even into teeny tiny bits if necessary. There's so much room in this corner, and there's so much room in like this area, this area, this area. It can go back. So stuff can go back there. So I want to keep it as family friendly as possible, because I want anybody to be able to come into the workshop and learn something and share. Okay. Stuff can go anywhere here. Beautiful. Look at this. It's like a neon sign on a chalkboard. It reminds me of the, if you guys have ever seen Looney Tunes back in action, the beginning of the end credits looks like this same style of brushwork. Really worth a watch. I mean, that movie's worth a watch anyway, but it's a... They do a white on black for like the pencil-y parts of the animation, and it looks really darn cool. Now it's time to, like, not lose track of... Oh, that wasn't part of the other prong. Okay, I was going to say, because I don't know where that line is coming from. This is for that yellow diamond. And so I need to add more definition to this part. I think I just forgot to add the prongs here. Okay. Getting down to the wire. And then, so, more definition and more definition and more definition. Adding all sorts of raised pieces and curves. All sorts of dimensions to the lines. Making it feel more like a natural thing you're looking at, even though natural things don't really have outlines like this. Though I do wish that life was this cel-shaded, but unfortunately we do not live in that world. There is that. Oh, look at this. Beautiful. And the teeth. And the jaw juts out like how again? Like that. Okay. So this piece should go down a little bit further. Yeah. So yeah, it's really poking into this. It's really poking into the gargoyle, but I think he'll live. And more thick line there. How's everybody enjoying themselves in chat? Just a final how are you before we're about to sign off. A little crease there. And a little seam there. And here we go. Oh, this is looking gorgeous. So, yeah, you can see a lot of the definition here. So, where is... So, Lady Goo's character is over here. And Gunther's character is over here. You can find the reference images for those in the Discord. And I'll probably copy the Pokemon one over to the Discord as well. And that is most of what we've gotten done today. I did not continue. So I started the stream on the line work for... Yeah, the line work for him. And I'm definitely going back to that. Very excited for that. After we do other requests. And if we have time after the other stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to... I'm going to bucket fill stuff and then move on to the lighting of everything. I think I want to light everything at once, but bucket fill can come after just everything's been inked, and that can be just a broad thing. Okay, so I'm going to throw the Pokemon reference image I used into the Discord server. And yeah, so you got all my links. They're all down below, wherever you're seeing this. So, yeah. Anyway, so I like to do these every single Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You ain't no fiction, and that is correct, Gunther. That is technically not an OC. It's just a cartoonization of you. But thank you, everybody, and hope you enjoyed your time at my workshop here. I hope everybody drew a little something. Feel free to send in pictures if you took part yourself into the Discord server. And is there anything I'm forgetting? I don't know. I'll be back here. I'll be back here next week on at 6 p.m. My social media as well. Links are in the bio of this channel, and that's where you'll find anything from me that you'd really care about, especially on Instagram. Hope everybody had a lovely time. Best wishes to you.